All right, guys. Hey, everyone. We're live, right?
Yes, we are.
All right, guys. Hey, you're watching Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers, episode 60. 60. Oh, my God. I mean, that's a lot, man. I'm 83 years old myself, so 60 is literally like that's almost as old as I am, man. Getting up there. We've been doing this for, Mark, did you ever figure out when we started? About 4.5 years, right?
No, I never found out. I would say.
Hey, by the way, Mark has got his video fixed, so you get to see his charming, young, dapper face during this episode. And did you get a haircut? Oh my God, Alex must be like happy.
Yeah, no, I'm not, but it's okay. I was tired of my hair in my face.
One makes to keep their woman happy. Hey, Dawn, I just saw you in there. Anyway, we have an amazing show tonight. We have some amazing guests, some of the veterans and most talented people in the LitRPG genre. They're also two beautiful spirits and hearts. Who do you want to bring in first, Mark?
Let's go ahead and bring in Katie Hanna.
Okay, first up, as I already said, a veteran author, been writing for a long, long time. Her talent is only surpassed by her spirit and heart. Bring in Katie Hanna.
Well, that was a lovely introduction.
You're welcome. That $5, so you can pay me later.
Yeah, okay, I'll Venmo it
to you. Next up is another veteran author and also a super nice guy. He was one of the first people 9 months ago when I started put out my first book. He was one of the first people in the LitRPG genre that added me on Facebook and was liking my posts and stuff like that. And so that was pretty cool. Bring in Troy Osgood. Yay! Oh, and I forgot to introduce you guys. She gets peeved. This is Lola, kind of the mascot of Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. So there you go, Lola. No tantrums today. Anyway,
my dog barking later. She's gonna probably want to go out in about 10 minutes.
Guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Troy.
So you might see my dog barking in a couple minutes. She's probably
I love dogs, man. This is my third dog, and I grew up with dogs. So we always lived like a couple blocks from my grandmother because I was, raised by a single mom, and so we ate at my grandmother's all the time. And she always had like 5 wiener dogs running around. So, which was good, man, because you could like ninja shovel vegetables down below. But anyway. Kaylin and Dawn are here as well. Very, very cool. I'm going to jump right into it. We're going to start with KT. KT, what is a project that you have done in the last 2 years that you thought just turned out amazing and you were proud of and it kicked booty?
I'd say Town Under, System Apocalypse Australia.
Is that the one you do with Tao?
Yeah. When he asked me to co-write, I didn't understand what co-writing was, and now I know.
Yeah, I would be challenged with that probably.
Yeah, it's very difficult jumping into somebody else's way established world and writing a story. And I have had multiple arguments with him about no, your system is seen through the eyes of like an adjudicator. You can't say it wouldn't act like this. Because...
Yeah, I've read a lot of LitRPG. I unfortunately have yet to read Tao's, but as you guys know, as readers, there's almost like an endless list of books.
Oh God, yeah. I have like a TBR that's probably like 1,700 books long. Like,
yeah, I'm always having to dump them back up to you to add some. But very cool. So tell me the premise. I kind of understand because I've read a lot of the descriptos, what do you call the blurbs on Tao's book. So what's the premise of your take on it?
When I went to write this, I was thinking I would do exactly what Tao had done and write an overpowered female character because they're pretty rare. But Tao didn't want that. Tao was like, no, I really want us to write a different dynamic. So I went, so I wrote a single mom with 2 kids. So I had a lot of fun setting it in my hometown and literally destroying my hometown when the apocalypse hits. And then I mutated like every single creature you can possibly imagine because that was fun and it's Australia. So we have the combat wombat, Mama Wombat, her name is in the book. And then there's, I got to mutate alligators and crocodiles and snakes and spiders and
yeah, sometimes difficult to come up with all the different freaking
just take a couple of
beasts
Australian
and all
like
that
native
kind of
animals, mix them up, and you've got a monster. So
Yeah.
I mean,
koala. I would like to see that.
well, and it makes sense
That
because
is
you're
scary.
actually on
like 15 feet tall.
yeah, and
So,
you're actually still on Earth. Yeah, I think it gets a little harder when you're doing portals.
Yeah.
Because you're somewhere else. You got to come up with some kind of fantastical crap.
So what the premise is basically, I mean, if you haven't read Tao's books, yes, I did, Christy. Basically, the Earth wakes up one morning, or in Australia's case, at midnight, or 11 p.m. because world time zones, and the apocalypse hits, and everything electronic is dead. Mana infuses everything instead. So like in Australia at 11 p.m. at night, people are coming and going from work. The freeways are full. And so there's masses of like accidents, millions and millions of deaths. And that's how.
So you're really starting from the beginning. So what you did is you went into Tao's world and you started where his book started. You just started in a different part of the world.
Just in Australia. And my books move a lot slower because there's a lot of base building in my books. That's
always a handful, man. I had to deal with that with, and we were talking about this, I think, on last episode, that you have to be careful in what you write as far as world building and stuff, because you can box yourself in as far as your MC. So like if you put him all of a sudden as the head of a city or the head of a base, all of a sudden you got to spend a lot of time doing base building.
In
or at least
this world, you can set it up like that, but everything is transferable. Mm-hmm. Everything, you can add more leaders, you can add more people to oversee stuff. So it's not, you don't get like, I didn't box my MC in, but in Town Under, basically I took my childhood favorite shopping center, and the malls in Australia are like huge. Oh, can I swear?
Yeah.
You can, I swear like
no, fuck no, quit that.
I'm Australian. Like, I mean, you had to expect that, right? So anyway, basically I took my favorite childhood shopping center and turned it into their headquarters and just demolished neighborhoods around it. And have you ever heard of a magpie? So we've got like magpies that like
kind of similar to a crow, right?
Oh, magpies are worse. Like magpies will dive bomb you to peck at your eyes because they look sparkly.
Wow.
Like
I've seen the Bluey episode about
like
that.
Crows
and
ravens,
dude.
They like to
Magpies
collect shiny stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the Bluey episode about the magpie.
Yeah. So
isn't that what Heckle and Jekyll were? Or were they crows? They were crows.
They were crows.
Yeah. But so anyway, I took every single beloved creature in Australia and I mutated the crap out of it. And it is so much fun.
Do you have killer squirrels? They're going after people's nuts?
They're going after people's everything, dude. And kookaburras, and like nothing was safe. Nothing is safe. I have.
And Australia's got some pretty weird ass.
Oh yeah.
From dingoes to the normal packs of wild dogs to the kangaroos to the lizards you mentioned.
Book 3 has the kangaroo fight, I think. Book 3 has the kangaroo.
And
I
then the
like
really
an
cute
emu
ones,
and a
the
gator.
koala bears.
That was fun.
The koala bears.
That's what I was saying. Koala bears will like eat your face now.
Oh, dude, the koala bear in book 2 is like think of that picture of the drop bear, that circulated, like the big drop bear that's like all wet and it looks like.
Are you talking about the cocaine bear? Is that what you're
talking about? That one. Yeah, like so I took that.
You're having your bears take a bunch of cocaine?
No, but I took it. Well, dude, they're eating gum leaves like their entire lives. They're always high. So you take like the koala bear and make it like 15 feet tall, which makes its claws like this big, like you can't even like massive.
Are they in the same grouping as sloths?
I
Same breed or
have
whatever,
no
because
idea.
they both have those kind of fingers that like for grasping trees and stuff like that, right?
Well, yeah, but sloths can actually move pretty fast, whereas koalas are too stoned to move too fast.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, so that's I'm super proud of it because I'd never done a co-writing project before.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That sounds challenging just off the
It really
top.
is. And we released 3 books inside of, I think, 6 to 7 months. And they're all pretty chunky. So, and
I've had people ask me to do that in film. And I'm like, I don't even know how that would work. And I never, no thanks.
I write pretty, co-writing for me and Tao works differently than he does with other people because I already had an established audience and I'd already written a chunk of books. So I write the book and he goes through and tells me what the system would or wouldn't do and helps me with some of my fight scenes. So basically he goes through and dev edits it for me. And then I go through and add about an extra 20
and stuff like that.
What?
Does like some bridge stuff and everything like that?
No. He pretty much just lets me have free reign story-wise and just goes through and makes sure that the system is working as intent, like it's working within his world parameters.
Within the paradigm that he's created.
Yeah. So I mean he will rewrite stuff for me. He'll insert some of my my fight
the
scenes.
few times I've talked to him, mostly at Guildified, he was super nice.
Oh, Tao is just one of the loveliest people you'll ever meet. He will help anybody, help with advice. He'll look through contracts for people and find like, don't do this contract unless you renegotiate this and that. He's just, I got really lucky. Like he's just fantastic to work with.
Well, and you had a preset, already really popular setting.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of fun with it. And we have 3 more books to write. The first should come out in August this year. So the first 3 were like Town Under, Flat Out, and Bloody Oath. So kind of like a bit tongue-in-cheek titles, but we take a turn for the serious in the last 3 books to coincide with the statement in like book 4 of his series where they go, "Oh, you don't want what happened in Australia." So that's what I'm working toward.
So I'm not a big traveler, or I just don't like traveling or driving or going long distances. But there are a few places in the world that someday I want to see, and one of them is Australia.
Go to Brisbane.
The other one is Rome, just to see the Colosseum. And then the other one's probably Scotland because that's where my ancestry is. But Australia has always fascinated me.
Australia is an awesome country. I'm only here.
I don't know about the hinterland, but like the coast and the beaches and all that stuff sounds cool.
Well, I met my husband in a computer game in 2005 and immigrated to the States in 2007. Otherwise, I would still be in Australia. So
I hear you. All right, let's jump over to Troy. Troy, what is the project you've done in the last 2 years that you thought turned out great, you were amped about? Hey, Geneva.
Probably the latest one that just came out was on Audible was the Tales of a Far Rider. And
but this isn't the one that you want to do during present time, right? When we get to present?
No, that's something different.
Okay,
this was just released back. The audio was just released back beginning of April, on April 4th, I want to say. And this one was a little different because it was the ebook is available on the new Yonder app, yonderstory.com.
Gotcha.
So the first book is available there.
Is that like a Royal Road thing, or is that like an
Audible? Yeah, it's put out it was created by Web Novel that does all the
So it's like a Royal Road.
No,
yeah,
Webtoons, not Web Novel.
Yeah,
Web Novel is bad.
Webtoons. Yes, Web Novel is bad. Webtoons is
Web Novel is just when there's just forever on like a Royal Road.
Web Novel is Web Novel is bad. Webtoons is the comic book related stuff. And for manga and anime. Sorry,
I'm not very. I'm on Royal Road, but that's the extent of it.
It costs me a lot of money to read every year.
So Yonder, unlike Royal World, Yonder is a paid app, but you can you get free unlocks every day. So if you're patient, you can get the entire story for free. But my publisher Aethon was one of the first ones invited onto the app for LitRPG.
Hey, Aethon does good stuff, man. I like quite a few of their stuff. I always put a little like on when I see one of their little ads.
Yeah. So they asked me if I had anything available to put up there, and I had. So my first book I ever wrote was called The Skeleton Stone, and that came out in 2016, completely self-published. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, and it did nothing. So it just kind of sat there, and I eventually unpublished it. Always meant to go back and do something later. And when this Yonder opportunity came up, I took this fantasy story I had and turned it into a progression fantasy. Yeah, that's it. So I added a bunch of progression.
So what's the premise of this series?
Basically, when I first came up with it, was my take on the Forgotten Realms, where there was a world of magic, and I eventually just wanted to do a game setting based on it, real Dungeons and Dragons kind of setting, but that never happened. So it's a world of magic. The world is surrounded by a shroud of energy that some people can access, and they call it Shroud Weavers. And you, as they kind of
reap, as in like death reap.
No, weavers, as in like
reavers, so like marauders.
No, W-E-A-V-E-R. Yeah, like basket weaving.
Like a spell weaver.
Weavers.
Spell weavers, yeah.
Gotcha,
they call it shroud weavers because they access the shroud of energy around the planet. And that allows them to...
So they're manipulating threads.
Yeah, so it gives them abilities, and they start off at a low rank and advance through the ranks as they use their abilities. And basically the premise is... the tagline was always, in a world of magic, there's a venture around every hill. And so the series follows Cullen Hawkfall as he does his adventures, and he advances through the ranks. So the first book was just, I adapted the Skeleton Stone, which is where he is basically leaving one situation, is stuck on the road, and he comes across a guy on a horse running from a village, and he hears a story, and the guy's on his way to get the king's gods. So Cullen goes and investigates and finds that these animated skeletons are attacking a mining village. So it's basically him stopping the skeletons. He finds out that the skeletons are magically created by us. I don't want to give too much away, but
no, just premise is good. You don't want to give the goodies, bro. You don't want to give the prize away without them reading it.
Yeah. So basically,
you know what I found it fascinating. I don't know if you guys do Royal Road or any of that kind of stuff. I always find fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I find fascinating that I'll have people read twice as many people read chapter 8 as chapter 1 through 7, and I'm like, it always baffles me. I'm like, what kind of person goes in the middle of a book?
That's how I started with the Jack Reacher series.
I know that when I read webtoons, for example, like the comics, I have a very favorite one that I will have favorite episodes of, and I will like that chapter so much that I will go back and view it 10 more times.
Oh, because I'm always baffled. I'm like, who the hell starts reading in the chapter 8, 9? I'm like, how do you even know what's going on?
Maybe they really liked that chapter.
Yeah. I guess that makes more sense. That way. Yeah, I started the Dresden series on, but I think it was book 5. For some reason, I picked that up, and I went back and read the rest of them.
Okay, so what's the so now this is basically for this is for Atheon, and it just came out, right?
Yeah, so it's on the Yonder app for ebook, and then the Podium just produced the audiobook, and that just came out. And then because it's on the Yonder app, the ebook won't be available.
And how many? Because you said this was pre-written, that you just went back and cleaned it up and made it.
Yep.
So how many were already written? I mean, how big is the series?
Just the one. So right now,
it's a one-off.
Yeah. Well, no, it's right now it's set for a 3-book series, but I created a premise that I can do as.
Yeah, but you only had one written already, so you just
I only had the one written.
It.
Yeah.
And there was a second book written in that series because the original series was called The Tale. I can't remember now. It's been so long, but it was. It was my take on the Forgotten Realms in the Hopper series. So every book was.
Yeah, I love Forgotten Realms, man. I grew up on Drizzt and all those guys, and
so every book was supposed to be a different main character, a different part of the world, kind of thing. So there was a second book called The Orc Plains that was published, and about that time is when I just started discovering LitRPG, and I stopped that series because I just didn't know what I was doing. So I wanted to, and they at that point
you learn by doing, man.
Yeah. So I unpublished that one, and maybe that one will eventually show up somewhere. But the Tales.
No,
of the
believe
Far
me,
Riders-
I've had to learn I have learned so much. I mean, I wrote for decades, but I didn't write prose, which means I had to learn what the fuck grammar was.
That's why I have a copy editor.
Right. So
I
I'm
can't
about
afford
halfway-
that. That shit is expensive, man.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through writing book 2 of that series. So I'm
Very
writing.
cool.
I'm doing bits and pieces of that in between the books of my next main series, because right now I don't have a deadline to get book 2 of that series out, but I want to get it done.
All right, let me ask something real quick, because I do notice, and I'm about to do that, where I'm about to start a second series while I'm doing still the first series that I'll have 2 or whatever. How many series do you guys both have going right now? 2? Yeah, because I feel like 2 is the max I would want to do.
So
but
I ran into a problem when I first started writing. I was writing Sky Realms Online, and I got to, I think, make book 4, and I started writing another. I thought I could write faster than I could, so I had another series I started doing, Battlegrounds Online, and then I did my co-authored series, Jeff the Game Master, with Jamie Castle, and I had all 3 of those kind of going at the same time. And
3 sounds like too much, man.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't handle it like I thought I could. So I the deadline, this publishing schedule kind of got away from me, and that kind of hurt long term. So this time, I'm concentrated. I'm doing one series, which is the Future Project, which will be coming out in a couple of months. But in between, so once I finished up book 1 of that series, I took a month off from that series, and I started working on Tales of the Far Rider book 2. And then once I got that month was over, I stopped that and went and started writing book 2.
I mean, that's what I'm going to do is once I get the second, as soon as I finish book 5, which I'm on now, I'm going to start the book 1 of the second series and then just alternate.
So
now, KT, let me ask you that same question, although there was a question to you. When will we get a book narrated by you?
I literally have all of the equipment. I just haven't put my booth together, and I haven't found my TARDIS so that I can make time to narrate a book. So
is that why when I talked to you, I thought I heard you doing like Kerouac type spoken word to jazz? Is that what you were doing?
I don't think so.
Hey, for all you out there, you can find it on YouTube. If you've never heard Jack Kerouac speak his poetry to jazz, his voice is like velvet. But anyway, so the answer to that question, how many series do you have?
I currently technically have 3 series I'm working on. One of them is on Yonder, which because it's not as accessible as KU or Amazon, I kind of didn't mention it, but I have a trilogy that I'm actually about 10,000 words from finishing, that is on the Yonder app as well. But it's a progression fantasy called Alchemical Imbalance, and it's about assassins.
Like you said, it's called Full Metal Alchemist?
Alchemical Imbalance.
Are there 2 brothers in it? One's a robot, or
and nobody mutates a dog with a kid. Okay, we don't do that. So.
No, I mean, but some of them are juggling. Now I know Jazz has been juggling 3, and me and a bunch of other people were giving him crap because it had been so long. Now he put out 2 in a row, but it had been so long since he had written in that the Mankind series, of the whatever, and then he put out 2.
Well, I have one that's one of mine is waiting on a book 3. It's just that I wrote them during COVID, and to be perfectly honest, I need to go back and read books 1 and 2 before I write 3.
That's the problem with doing multiple series.
What I wrote.
You forget where you're doing it.
I know there's a fight scene on a train because it's on the cover, and that's literally all I remember from the book. And I'm like, I gotta read them again. I don't go back and read them.
I was trying to read. I read an author, and I like their stuff, but literally when I looked at their Amazon page, it literally looked like they had 6 or 7 different series, all with 2 books out.
Ooh. Some people work that way.
And I was just like, oh my God, dude, your fan base must be driven nuts.
If you can keep the publishing schedule and still maintain it, then there's no problem. But once you start, this was my problem, once you start doing it, it starts slipping. So if you were consistently like 3 months between books, then all of a sudden you're now at 6 months or 7 months, that's when you start losing the readers.
Well, and then this is the gist I got from just kind of scanning through his list, was that he was one of those people that was doing, I wrote a book, I wrote a new series. Oh, it didn't do very well. I'm going to go create another one.
Ooh.
And then I'm like, oh, wait, that didn't do as well as I wanted to. I'm going to go create another one. And I'm like, man, you can't do that to your fan base, bro. Like, at least wrap it up. Don't be a Patrick Rothfuss or a George R. R. Martin where, like, you literally, like, start something and then don't finish. I mean, if it was supposed to be a 5-book series, maybe cut it down to 2 books, make it a duology and wrap it up at least. But, yeah, I just couldn't imagine. I was, like, baffled when I saw all the guys' series. I was like, oh, my God, dude, how the hell? I would have a schizophrenic attack. I would start borrowing Mark's yellow summer dress and dancing in it. But anyway, hey, let's jump real quick. KT, what is a current book you are doing that you are amped about, excited about? It gets your tizzy and a nizzy?
Well, I'm actually about to start working on System Apocalypse Australia Book 4. And I'm actually super excited about that.
Is this the one where the koalas take over the world and create a weed garden?
No, they don't. They don't create a koala utopia. I'm sorry.
I can imagine one of them in like shades with a little beret on and going selling weed on the street corner.
No, dude, they're too busy eating the weed themselves. Like, they're not going to share it.
They'd be the best customer, not the seller.
They're their own best.
Yeah, I can imagine that too, where he's telling his fellow koala, "Oh man, I'm selling a bunch of weed. Oh yeah, who's buying? Oh, I'm buying it myself, man. It's amazing."
I'm trying to find one of my books. I write all my notes in like by hand. I'm old fashioned that way. And I was gonna show like my notebook from like Town Under and stuff. This is from Alchemical Imbalance, and it just has like pages and pages.
So you do it on paper?
Yes.
That might be easier because like my Bible is now like 84 pages or something like that, and the shit is scattered all over, which would probably happen in a notebook, but a notebook would probably be easier to find it.
And you can
than
like tab
scattering
the pages
through a file, an e-file.
Yeah, so you can like tab the pages.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be better.
Yeah, and you can just. But
until the ink starts fading or someone lights it on fire, then you would probably be bummed out. But yeah.
James had asked, how I could forget my books. And that's because those 2 books that I wrote, I pantsed like something chronic and I did not keep notes the way I usually do. And so I'm like lost. Like, I'm just like, I know I had a point to these books and I have no idea what it is anymore. I know what I wanted the cover to look like, but I can't remember like how the story continues. So I have to go back and read them before I can write the 3rd book, which is.
Hey, I have to even do that within a book. Like if all of a sudden I want to reference something that happened in the beginning of the book, I got to go back and make sure that the especially small characters. So do you ever do that where you have to go back and like make sure you remember their name right?
I do this thing where I do like in capital letters. I'll do like dude 3's name or childhood friend's name or something like in
Sounds like a film script.
Yeah,
oh my God, there was
Bad Guy
kind
3.
of very small
Bad Guy
supporting
4.
character, but he shows up a lot. Not a lot, but periodically in the whole series.
Well,
and for a whole like multiple chapters, I kept calling him Diego, and then I realized I went back and looked, and I'm like, his name's Diaz. I literally like I had to then go back through 4 chapters and literally like find it where I did it and had to like change his name back. I'm like, man, the audience, the fan readers would like kick my ass.
In the one I'm writing for Yonder, because she's an alchemist, so she uses a lot of poisons and plants, and I had made up a poison and given it a name, and for the life of me, I could not remember what the hell I called that bloody poison, and so I'm just writing new poison, like as I'm writing, because I don't want to stop the flow to go back and
you want to put it on.
So when I go back through edits, there's like all these bracketed caps, new poison.
I use X's. I do like 3 X's, and then at the end I go through and I just do a find, and I find XX. Okay, this XX is referring to this. So, and I go through and search it after that. which is all done. So I got a lot of X's in my first
Control
draft.
F makes everything easier.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is. Control
Or do you
F.
ever
Finding
do it
replace.
where there's like something that you should have put in the Bible,
Oh, yeah.
and then literally you need it like in a book later, and you go look in the Bible through the whole fucking thing, and it's there. So then you have to go back to the book that it was in and scour the entire fucking book looking for the damn information.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
What was the name of that ability that does this? Where is it? Where's my spell list?
It's a
Or
lot
I
harder.
even
for us
forget
to look
abilities.
up
I
too.
forget, I forget in the middle of a fight. I'll have to go back and redo the fight because I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that one character had that ability and they would have used it.
That would have made it so much easier.
Yeah, I add little lines every once in a while when I went across it. I was like, oh, this ability, like, oh, he has all these abilities I forget to use. And like, oh, I'll add another line that there's a reason why he doesn't use them in this particular fight.
He met a
Like,
koala bear and smoked too much weed.
Yeah.
We shared the ganja.
Yeah.
Okay, so your current project that you're excited about it and you're about to start is book 4 of the Tau co-write.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. And for people out there, just to let you know, it is not Full Metal Alchemist. And also there are no koala bears selling weed on a street corner.
No, but they do try to eat the humans because they're 15 feet tall. So, that's more fun.
All right, Troy, what is a project you are currently working on that you're amped about, that you're excited about?
Is my next series coming out from Aethon at some point. It's not on the schedule quite yet. I think we're looking for the audio producer at this point in time.
So this is a separate one than the one we already talked about, the one that was the repolish of your old
this is the new series. This is
so you must impress them. They want more books, huh?
This will be my 4th series, four and a half if you count the Yonder series. So this is my fourth series with them. So I think I'm impressing them.
Very cool, man. I mean, hey, having a press with their ability to market for you and all that stuff, that does a lot, man.
Yeah, I feel pretty lucky considering the caliber of the guys' books they're producing now is that they still want to do my books. So, I mean, I'm saying, with Primal Hunter and Defiance of the Fall and He Who Fights with Monsters coming out by them, feel pretty lucky that
I tried to get presses behind me, and I did a whole press packet, and I did the cover with me in a sumo thong with a disco ball above me, and for some reason it didn't work, and I didn't get it. I don't understand, man.
So the new series is my take on the Apocalypse LitRPG genre, and it's called the Connected System. And
now is this starting like right at the beginning of the Apocalypse, or is the Apocalypse already begun?
The first page pretty much starts the Apocalypse. Is it the kind of when KT was talking about her books? Mine are kind of similar. Is it's a father and his 2 daughters is the main characters, and it takes place actually
reverse.
but it actually,
kind of like The Last
takes
of
place
Us.
in my hometown.
Oh, yeah.
The town I live in.
Is there by chance a man in a yellow summer dress with a lightsaber?
No, sorry. Maybe in future books. But it pretty much starts right
Mark
when the
is available.
It starts when the Apocalypse, and it just shows the father trying to survive with his kids, and it does follow pretty much all the tropes. He becomes pretty overpowered compared to everybody else, and the first book is really
I wasn't allowed to do that, Tao.
The first book is really just the 3 of them getting stuck in a dungeon for pretty much almost the entire book. And that's how he and the 2 daughters basically become more powerful than anybody else. Is they get trapped in a dungeon that they should never have been into. Underpowered.
Kind of like
They're
the solo
underleveled.
leveling type thing where they get stuck in a tower or something, and they're
so
like,
Here's a great. There was just a question that had a lot of responses in, I think, LitRPG author guild, and it has to do exactly with what you're talking about, Troy. Someone was asking, "Hey, I don't mind OP MCs, but why is there a way you can do it that makes sense?" Like, because they're talking about how OP MCs in a dungeon that's for their level, and yet it's still challenging, and it made the person question. I'm like, well, what happens if these non-OP people at that same level, if this guy's finding it challenging, it doesn't logically make sense that it would be for that level. and that's a perfect example right there. Is having them under an OPMC underleveled for whatever dungeon they're about to.
So they find it unlucky because they get stuck in there, and it's the dad's has to wrestle with the idea of his two daughters having one to try to protect them, and then realizing that he needs them to help him fight to get them out of there. So then he has to wrestle with willingly putting his kids into danger, at the same time trying to protect them, but needing them to put themselves in danger so they can all survive.
Pull their own weight to get out of there.
Yeah. And then
by the way, Tao said a few comments. Thanks for joining, Tao.
I'm picking on him. It's okay.
That's very. So it's the father, two daughters. They get stuck in a dungeon that they're underleveled for, and that's a great beginning dynamic, man. So because obviously, I'm assuming the father is doing his best to try to protect his daughters. What's the age range of the daughters?
The daughters. So I kind of based them along my two daughters, but I aged them up so that the oldest is 15 and the
wasn't trying to do a dungeon with two toddlers and like
well, my kids are 10 and 8, so I didn't think that was a little like I liked Apocalypse parenting when they had the younger kids, but
I've heard a lot about it. I haven't read it, but a lot of people were saying about is that the one where the kids always like are calling things by kitty names?
Yeah. And it's Apocalypse Parent is the mother with 3 kids, and I think the oldest is probably 12, and then there's one that's maybe 4.
Yeah.
So that's great, and that's a great book, and I can't wait to start the second book. But I wanted to get it to where the kids can be more involved and more active. So there's a couple of chapters where both of the daughters have some point of views.
Well, and you always got to do the story that you're feeling, man.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice. You get to see the 15-year-old who's a typical teenager thinking they're all that. Yeah. And then you got the 13-year-old who
a teenager that thinks they're all that. I've never heard of such a thing.
Right. And then you got the 13-year-old who's scared but wants to help out and wants to be there, but is still a little scared because it's still younger. So it's pretty interesting.
I always laugh when people because I always when I'm reading, and I read voraciously, I literally go through like probably 3 books a week, and I like reality. I like based on same way I like films. I like it being realistic based on the characters you're writing. You know what I mean? And I always laugh when I see reviews or whatever that are critiquing someone because it's a 40-year-old reading a book about 2 20-year-olds, and he's pissed that the author isn't having them act like 2 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's 2 20-year-olds, man. Like,
well, we got that
projecting yourself into that book and understand that author is doing a great job of being realistic to how 2 20-year-olds would react to.
How can this NPC be so stupid? I hate those. I hate those reviews because it's reality. Is if we're on AOS, we're put in that situation, we're going to panic. We're going to make stupid decisions.
Yeah, you're going to have people make all sorts of fuckery decisions.
Especially in a world where you can get a system, you can all of a sudden, if I'm going to throw 50 points into strength and becomes the Hulk. Yeah, so that may not be the smartest thing you can do, but in the moment, it's cool.
Yeah, we in System Apocalypse Australia, the daughter is about to turn 9. Now, when I wrote the book, my daughter was about to turn 9. And I based the character off my daughter. My daughter's a little more mature.
So she's sassy?
Oh, God, my child is me, but mini. Like, when your mother goes, I hope you have a child just like you. Yeah, I've got a child.
Does she at least filter the cussing when she's in front of you?
Yes, we did. But people were like, oh, no, a 9-year-old wouldn't act that way. And I'm like, then you haven't met my child or her friends because they all act this way. Like, they would all do this. This is how they would be. And I was like, I think you're picturing like 8-year-olds who, grew up in a place in a world that didn't have the technology, that didn't have the, that went out and played in the yard for hours. Whereas nowadays the kids are a little more cluey, a little more sassy.
Well, they grew up with internet right in front of them.
Like,
and Google.
Yes.
Remember when we, or at least when I grew up, you had to pull a goddamn huge ass encyclopedia.
The Britannicas, remember?
Yep.
The freaking like
Encyclopedia
massive
Britannica,
encyclopedia.
and like go through a 4,000-page book and figure out where the
or then they'd have to break the S's and the R's up, and you'd have to figure out which one the freaking word was going to be in that you were looking at.
Yep.
Hey, my niece, who's like 11, she would actually have done well. She just placed first in all of her age group in Texas in archery.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I keep fucking with her though and tell her I got to get her a mask and a grappling hook and get her prepared for her vigilante journey. But
My
yeah, I
shirt.
hear you. Do you know that I actually bought someone that once, a grappling hook?
My favorite people are cats.
Very cool. I like all animals. I don't think I would own a cat though. I'm more of a dog.
I have
person.
2 of them sitting right here. One is the most beautiful animal in the world. I have to turn my whole computer. But one of them is the most beautiful animal in the world. He doesn't bite. He doesn't scratch. He's amazing. You can scratch his tummy and he just doesn't care. The other one is a devil in a meat suit. He is violent, evil, and keeps trying to escape and giving me heart attacks at thinking that he got eaten by coyotes. So far he's not dead.
Hey, there's a 1,000 roads to Damascus, just like there's 1,000 personality types, and how people try to break it down into these 1, 2, 3 things, and there's so many different variations of people that will react to the same thing 1,000 different ways. So I mean, there are some things with age which you can kind of generalize a little bit. A 9-year-old is not going to react the same way as most like 30-year-olds to a certain traumatic incident, but I guarantee you there's what is that, the kittens?
It's my cat. So it was easier than turning my monitor.
But this has been your go-to move several times, so I'm imagining that is a go-to move. Yeah. Instead of speaking, I shall just talk in imagery.
Like my cats.
Yeah. Well, okay, you guys. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take. We just got going, you guys. But we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Then we're gonna come back and talk about the future projects that they have on the burners that they're excited to get to, and we'll also shoot the shit a little bit, just in general about, in my opinion, probably the fastest rising genre in the book industry currently, which is LitRPG. And then get their various opinions on those 2 things, you guys. So you've been watching Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. JD Glasscock, the guy I can't do anything without, the master of technicians and lightsaber savant who occasionally dances beautifully, Mark Potter, and then our 2 great guests, KT Hanna and Troy Osgood. So you guys, we're going to be back in 5 minutes. Stay tuned, and then you guys, he's going to put that little 5-minute timer thing on. Just don't disconnect.
Okay.
Okay. Be back in 5, you guys. Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers, as always, dream. We'll be back in 5. guys, we're all back. You had a question about harem, KT. Like, you write harem book with a female as the main character with a bunch of male
not my thing.
sex slaves.
That is not my thing.
Because of my last name, people keep asking me or already think I write harem or ask me if I'm going to write harem. I'm like, highly unlikely, but all right.
Yeah,
will be harem.
I'm not a harem person.
Even Mark tries to convince me to write it.
I'm barely even a romance person. Like, I do really slow burn romances in my books. I literally just had to run into my daughter's room, give her a quick tuck in, grab her some cough medicine because she's got a cough. I'm so tired now. Just like a marathon.
We're on the tail end, so you should be.
But yeah,
good.
no, there will be no harems for me. There might be some urban fantasy-esque stuff. I love urban fantasy. The two books I've got to finish the one of, like, that's urban fantasy gamelit. But apparently people don't want urban fantasy gamelit, but I love it, so I will eventually finish it one day. But yeah, that's about as close as I'm coming to anything harem. Will be like a romance, maybe. I prefer the action and the gore and.
Well, there's your answer, James. And James, yes, there's audio out for my first 3 books on Audible. But anyway, so let's start this time with Troy. Troy, what is something in the next 2 years you want to do that we haven't already conversed about that you're excited about?
So I try not to plan that far ahead because when I do, it doesn't happen. So like the connected system is right now is the 4 books, but I have the next arc figured out. So that would carry me into.
So you're doing a second series arc, or is this? Are you just
not sure yet? It all depends on how the first 4 books will be a complete story, but it will be left open so I can do more, and I already know what the next set of.
It's just one of those. Let's see how it does fiscally, and then we'll see.
So that could go for the next 2 years, or that one could finish. And there's 2 series that Jamie Castle and I plan on doing at some point in the future. So I got to figure out when to squeeze those into it as well. There's a toss-up which one of those is going to be.
So your main focus, even in the future, here is your 2 series. That's your main.
Yeah.
Yes, and you also are all these on Atheon.
Yep. They're all.
So from now on, you are pretty much an Atheon author. So
my LitRPG gamelit stuff will be, and anything else I do I'll probably offer that to them first and see where they want to go from there.
And just to let you guys know, Troy is secretly under another pen name writing harem. If you want to know that, his name, the name it'll be under is Theodore Tinkleberry.
Yeah, no. I do have another pen name that's got some pulpy. I don't have it down here anymore. It's up in my shelf with all my other books. I do have a pen name that I've done some pulp stuff out of, and that's TN Good. Goode. There's been
people with all their writing names, I can't keep track, man. I'm like, I remember it took me a while to figure this out, but I like one of the first LitRPG I ever read that got me into LitRPG was Dragon Mage by Vidar, and it was good. He never got back to it. It's like 2 books, and he had another series, Coda. I think he never finished either. So. But then I was talking to him, and then I realized it's the same guy that's writing The Great Game under another name. And I was reading both series, but I didn't realize it was the same author. And I was like, oh my God, dude, I never quite understood. I understood a little bit with the one guy that does harem under David Burke and then does regular LitRPG.
Yeah, Sean Oswald.
Regular LitRPG under. Yeah. So I get that kind of.
Yeah.
But some of them just do or there's another series I read recently that's really good. And they just have as a name Sunrise.
Yeah, Sunrise CV, the System Universe. That was another one that started on Royal Road. So
I think most of those ones that do those kind of names are the Royal.
on Royal Road, and they come on to.
And then when they start Royal Road, they just put some little anime picture and.
Your gamer username kind of thing. So
yeah, I mean, literally, dude. If I for 52 years, I've been having to carry Glasscock, so it's just going to be that's what it's going to be.
And that works as a gamer tag, so.
Yeah, except everyone thinks I'm writing harem, but sure.
Yeah, well, that's why it works as a harem modder.
You could have really.
Hey,
really
and I finally
even
it's going to smell like hot tamales. I finally even have T-shirts that say "Viva la Glasscock."
Hey, hold on.
and then mugs. Yeah. Anyway, that was more of a humor thing because of a joke I made once. So I figured, well, why not? We'll make it. But anyway, okay. So I'm going to come back to you in a second. KT, something in the next 2 years that you are planning that you're excited about.
Well, I have.
Is it the all female harem? Is that what it is?
No. No. I actually am struggling with whether to write under a male pen name, even though I write with K with initials K.T. Hanna. Like everybody in LitRPG knows that I'm a girl. So originally I wrote in sci-fi, and the K.T. Hanna was to because it's generally a male dominated genre. And
I swear Asimov wrote most of those things in a dress, so that's not really quite.
But in LitRPG, it's relatively small still, so people kind of know who you are. And add to the fact that if anybody asks me what the K and T stands for, I say Katie, because I'm that original. So, but it I have been tossing up the idea of doing a male pen name, because there are those people who just don't like reading a book written by a woman in the genre. It's
that's kind of
just a fact. Like you can't escape it. It's not. You can't get angry about it. It's
good writing is good writing, is what I say.
But I have a really cool book that I wrote 32,000 words on last year before I got the offer from Yonda to write, and I love it. It's a portal LitRPG. And
sci-fi? Sci-fi?
No, portal. Like an isekai.
Oh, a portal can still be sci-fi.
Well,
portal just means you're getting sucked into another world.
Well, yeah, it's a fantasy world. So
gotcha.
And they get sucked into this other world, and there's there are 2 corgis in it as well, because I love corgis. We've always had corgis. But yeah, so I'm not sure if I should. I mean, I probably won't. I'm too lazy to do another pen name.
Yeah, plus I don't know. Your name is so established.
Yeah, and especially because
it's fan base. That
it's LitRPG. I'm not like romancing it or hareming it.
Well, I mean, you could use KT Hanna to promote your other pen name.
Yeah, I was actually
how about Danger Dude
considering writing the books in the pen name and then co-writing with myself.
How about Danger Dude? That'll be good, man.
Well, you could use Serious Sam. That's already taken.
Serious Sam. I know, right? But yeah, so
and then you hire an actor to do like the author photo. Like a really good looking,
no, you just do
really ruggedly handsome,
photos where they like amalgamate a person that doesn't actually exist. And you just use one of those.
Or you can just do what a lot of these, what we were just referencing, the Royal Road do, and put like Bugs Bunny photo up and say some neutral gender, or you could do something like Sky Storm.
Well, my gaming handle was always Erithian, and so I used to think that I would do Erithian Sky before I actually got into real writing, and that would be kind of cool. But I don't know, I think I'm too lazy to maintain. I have enough trouble maintaining myself, so I don't know that I would actually put all the effort constantly into having a pen name. So odds are,
I mean, it's also that would be harder because now all of a sudden you're trying to market and promote multiple brands.
And I've already got a decent
instead
amount of
of
following.
strengthening one brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have a video game coming out on Steam and I have the film stuff. So like I couldn't do that because I would be weakening myself, not helping myself.
Exactly right.
Because to me, the cross marketing of all those different things are what I think is going to help me. As opposed
I had
to
a friend who did the, but they didn't have the name that they didn't have name recognition like I do.
Established, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't established really, and then they wrote under a pen name and it just took off. And I was like, oh wow, that'd be cool. But then I was like, yeah, but then I'd also have to make, because I watch them like constantly maintaining that name, and I'm like, wow, that looks like so much effort that I could just be writing another.
I mean, that's been like that for a long time though, KT. I'm friends with Faith Hunter, who's probably one of the big, huge urban fantasy authors out there. I mean, you can't go to a Barnes and Noble and not have her books there.
Yeah.
And she was telling me how way back in the beginning she was doing, I forget what it was. It was like thriller or something like that. That was like literally no women wrote in it.
Yeah.
And so she did what you're talking about. She did like a something Hunter or something like that. Like, but didn't put like where it looked like a male name or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it Nora Roberts and was publishing as JD Robb? Was that what it is?
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, so she did romance, and then JD Robb was the thrillers.
I thought it was really funny when J.K. Rowling like wrote that book and it did shit until people realized it was J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, the Robert Galbraith. Yeah,
that was really funny.
Which are very good books. Those are very good books.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it to a certain degree, but I think nowadays it's changed so much.
Well, and especially with AI writing starting to come into play, like it's probably just.
I don't know if that's ever going to work, but yeah, people will try to use it to scam people, but that's about it, I think.
Yeah, but it's probably better to just stick to my name. But I'm really excited about it, and I'm hoping to release it at the very end of this year. But I have 3 System Apocalypse Australia books to write. And even though I can write,
how many words a day do you write, Katie?
It depends. I give myself weekends off as much as I possibly can. I had a March from absolute hell. I lost an extremely good friend to an accident that should not have happened. Then my dad took a turn for the worse, and I hopped on a plane within 14 hours to Australia. Spent 10 days there, came home. So my March was like a wash. Like I somehow wrote like almost 40,000 words, and I don't know how I did that. I generally write when I'm in a decent headspace, anywhere from 40 to 80,000 words a month. Today I wrote 6,000 words because I'm like this close to the end and I can smell it and I just want to finish the book.
I get into this like in the last book. I had to do that, and it was like
I get into like a frenzy, you know.
Yeah, but it's like a brain melt, man. After you try to write that many words,
and I wrote 5, and I can do 5,000 word days. But I use this game called For the Words, where you kill the monsters with the amount of words you write, right?
But if you lose the words or something like that.
Yeah, it's no, you don't lose the words. It's literally called For the Words, and it's a game that has quests in it, and you go to areas, and each quest requires that you kill a certain amount of mobs, and you kill the mobs, and you get stuff, and you can craft armor, and it's freaking amazing. And so I'll just I'll type on there, and then I paste that into Google Docs, and then I paste everything when I've finished a certain chunk into a Word doc. I used to use Scrivener, but it started annoying me. So, but so it depends. I mean,
I tried to pick up Grammarly, but then I realized it doesn't work because I use Libra.
Yeah.
As my Word file, and it doesn't work with that. So it only works with Microsoft Word or whatever. But
if you use For the Words, Grammarly automatically checks it for you. So
I could do that. I already realized I could do that. I could literally
but it's not always right. Grammarly is not always right.
Work, and then paste it back over or whatever. But for some reason, when I paste stuff from the internet onto my Word files, it kind of fucks with the formatting and shit like that. So,
I just tend to like paste everything into Google Docs, and I don't format until I like put everything in a Word document, because until then it's just going to be like formatting however it feels like, and then I'll make it do what I want it to do.
I do everything Google Docs and then export it to Microsoft Word before I send it to the publisher, and they hate me because I make them format it because I just don't know how.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. Mark and his significant other, Alex, they both just had kittens. They themselves didn't, because I don't think we've gotten that far in society where humans can have kittens. But still, their cat just had kittens. And
if anyone wants one, you can have one.
No.
That means you, JD.
No, I'm okay. I'm not going to have my 11-year-old dog have to deal with a fucking kitten, dude.
Oh, I don't have any of my dogs in here. Oh, I'll see if my husband can bring me Tiny.
Okay, so to end this out, I want to do one last thing. I want to have you guys, what is your opinion on the state and growth of LitRPG? And we'll start with Troy, and then we'll go to KT.
It's growing pretty fast. I think the success of He Who Fights with Monster Book 9 just came out today, and it's hit #1 on the Amazon charts. I think Defiance of the Fall and Primal Hunter all getting the top 10. The Land gets up there. There's a couple of Dungeon Crawler Calls gotten some notice for film options and that kind of stuff. So it's starting to get a lot of notice, and the niche is growing. So it's,
I think I think Dinnerman and all that, or what's going on there, I think it will be one of the key factors. I think once there's actually a film made, it will expand the audience base quite a bit. When you finally have a film that introduces a little more extensive than what was that one with
Ryan Reynolds?
Girlfriend one that kind of did it a little bit.
No, Ready Player One.
No, not Ready Player
Ryan
One.
Reynolds one?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, that one.
That was a little bit. You had a little bit of video game type stuff in it. But I think once you actually have a movie that comes out that catches a little buzz, that has the LitRPG kind of aspects to it, I think it will blow up the base.
Yeah, but like KT said, you had you had Free Guy by Ryan Reynolds, which he was the
but that's like that is like a straight up rip from Grand Theft Auto, man. That's like literally
the problem with that is there's no connection to the book, so somebody watching that movie wouldn't realize that there's a whole the concept exists in a whole series of books.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Well, no, there wasn't, but that's what I'm saying is somebody watching the movie wouldn't realize.
Yeah, but that wasn't really LitRPG. That was straight up Grand Theft Auto. That was literally like a rip from Grand Theft Auto. I don't know if that was. I guess it did because it had levels and stuff like that.
And they reset when they died.
But I think it has to do with the common concepts of like being either taken to a fantasy world where you're actually choosing classes and stuff like that. Yeah. I think it'll take the class aspect to. Did you guys just watch the Dungeons and Dragons film?
Oh yeah.
Not yet.
Twice.
Yeah, so like even I liked that film. I thought it was cute.
It was really
they played very loose with the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing, and besides throwing things that people that play Dungeons and Dragons will totally recognize.
Yeah.
They really didn't talk about classes or.
Oh, but they did the Wild Mage so well with his the randomizer that he used.
The Wild Mage.
It is, but I mean, like I've never known a druid that can just literally shapeshift, like how she was.
That's what are they called?
Wild shape.
Owlbears.
Yeah, but the Wild Mage, the guy who played the mage, who was the really bad mage,
the sorcerer.
Yeah, that was a Wild Mage. He was. Yeah. That's a specific type of mage that, that is really bad until he's really good. Because they get the roll in that table of like wild, like a burst of wild magic or whatever.
Yeah. Yes, it can be either really good or really bad.
Yeah, and he was so well done. I thought it was fantastic. I was like, oh
yeah, and I love the movie. I thought the movie was great, but they were playing loose and fast with the whole. Like the bard, they can't do anything. They can't even.
I know, right? He did
like no musical abilities, no nothing. Like literally, just I plan.
Yeah, I plan, and then I come up with another plan.
when that plan fails, you make plans that fail? Well, no, but I mean,
It was
Yeah, but it was cool, and it did bring a lot of notoriety, I think, to Dungeons and Dragons. Even though it's pretty, the reason it got made was that Dungeons and Dragons is very hyped up with critical role, and all of that stuff. But very, very cool. So, what is your opinion, KT, on LitRPG?
I think it's got a lot of room for growth. And with like Dungeon Crawler Carl and the lot of big RR stories that have come I'm
seeing
out
a lot of that.
Yeah,
I feel a lot of people that all of a sudden out of nowhere they're coming up with their first book and already have like 2,000 reviews. And then you go to Royal Road and realize they're like on Royal Road with like literally 4 books already written. And with
I think the reach of LitRPG is just like expanding. And I don't know if you probably weren't around in the genre then, but about 3 years ago, Andrew Seipel and his Threadbare series got picked by Whoopi Goldberg on The View. And he got to send in books to The View. So like there's definite like
because what Whoopi read it and liked it.
Yeah, she loved it. He got an email from The View asking if they could have his book to give to their entire audience. So he did that, and it was,
did they at least pay for the
exposure. Book? Yeah. And like just little things like that where it just shows you that just because you don't game doesn't mean it would necessarily not appeal to you. So I think there's a lot of potential for growth because now people are realizing that some of the books are reaching outside the genre.
Yeah, isn't there actually some big time authors that are not big professional, but pretty big authors that are moving into LitRPG?
I don't know. I think
I recently read a couple people talking about, oh my God, this really well-known author is now writing his new first-time LitRPG series is coming out.
See, that's the thing about LitRPG with authors is I've noticed if you're an author who doesn't know gaming, doesn't know the genre like inside out, and you try to write a book, the readers know. They're not. They're avid consumers.
Oh, you mean someone that writes it that doesn't understand how role-playing games work?
Well, yeah, or like mechanics work.
Or RPG video games.
Yeah, exactly. And the readers know. And like there have been people trying to break into the genre and like
just because they think it sells as opposed to it's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they try to get into their market. People try to get it into it because it's a hot genre, and
it's like a genre you can't really write to market in
unless you know it.
Write to market in LitRPG, you need to.
That happens in a lot of fields, though. That happens in film, where all of a sudden, every time a Jurassic film comes out, next thing you know, like 3 different B films with really badly done dinosaurs and the name Jurassic in the title, they're all like literally come out.
So like there could be big authors wanting to take part, and maybe they're gamers, and if they're gamers, then they will probably do well because they'll help bring other readers into the genre. But unless they're a gamer themselves, or that they've been devouring LitRPG books left, right, and center, they're not gonna be able to write it in the way that the readers expect it to be written.
So I never thought, to be honest, I never thought about that. But I mean, I've been playing video games and playing Dungeons and Dragons since I was a kid. So
since you're
I didn't really, I didn't even really have that look at that angle.
Well, it's just one of those things when you get new people coming into the genre and going, hey, how do I go about creating a system? And it's like, well, dude, you're going to fail because you don't understand what.
Yeah, even people that have been playing role-playing games all their lives, creating a system.
I didn't have to think about it. I read, I devoured 11 books. My husband was like, because keep in mind, we met in EverQuest 2. My husband and I met in EverQuest 2 in 2005. And now I'm married.
Dreadlord, I think. Is that one of the classes?
No. I was a coercer because I've always played enchanters.
Okay.
And my husband was a warden. Was a healer.
Yeah. See, I like the tanky self-heal guy, whatever that was. The Dreadlord, I think, is what it was.
Yeah, I never played EverQuest. I was a WoW guy.
Yeah.
before that
Oh,
Ultima
see,
Online.
we
I
also
played
I played
both.
Arcade
we
Mage
played-
in. I think I hit the level 60 and quit right when the Lich thing came out.
Oh my
Because
god!
I didn't
Lich
like
King
the
was the
idea
best
that all of a
expansion.
sudden
How
you
did
could just start off at a
leave?
level 60 character. After I
Oh.
just busted my ass to get to level 60.
Well, we met in that, and then I came over, and we've been married almost 16 years. But like, he goes, "You got to read these books. This is like our genre." And I was like, "Oh, whatever." And then I finally was like in a reading mood. I'll get in these binging modes where I read like 20 books at a time. And I sat down and I read like Awaken Online. I read D. Russell, though I stopped at book 4 because he gets pretty problematic. And then I read
bag trees.
Oh yeah, Bagwell, Travis Bagwell.
Yeah, I
I
haven't
read
read his
Luke's
series.
books. I read Mike's books. Emerillia. I read Ascend Online, and then I went, "Holy shit! I've got an idea!" And I sat down and I wrote the first book of Somnia in 2 weeks. And I got.
By the way, I downloaded that. It's in my list.
Oh, cool. I must admit, I am super, 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 super like biased about my covers. I love my covers so much.
No, it is a pretty cover. The white with the design.
Yeah. But so like I wrote this in like 2 weeks because I pulled up all of my EverQuest 1 and my Vanguard. If you're as old as I am, you remember Vanguard when it came out.
City of
Vanguard
Heroes
Online.
was pretty much my favorite, I think.
I loved Vanguard so much. But it was very problematic because they released it like a year too early. And then
I've never
EverQuest
heard of a
2.
gaming company doing that. That's shocking.
Yeah, I know, it's so unusual. But I pulled up all of the spell lists from the classes that I'd played, and I literally just like amalgamated everything together, created my own like leveling system, and I had such a good time. Like I loved it. It was the most exciting thing I'd ever done. And
see, I'm glad I'm about to write book 1 of a new series, because after 5 books in this series, my brain is frying from writing about the same characters.
Oh yeah, it does.
That many books. I'm like, oh my God, I need to like do something else for a moment.
And then I pantsed this. I'm usually a plotter, and I pantsed this, and I swear, don't ever pants a series like that, because
I do all the time.
writing books.
Oh, are you one of those where you literally like plot every scene? So I'm more like Jez. I have like a goal of the scene, and then I go from the hip on the rest of it.
I do like sentences for every chapter that needs like points that need to be hit, but I never do the how. Like
Who was that one, KT? Who was that one we were on I was on a panel with you, right? In Guild of Five.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, who was that other person that was on there that had something like 500-page Bibles and 1,000-page Bibles?
Oh.
It was another female author. She was in the upper screen of the little boxes.
Was it Jay?
Like
No, it wasn't Jay.
No, it's not Jay Boyce. Was it Jay Boyce? I just remember they were talking about it in another, not our panel, but in another panel that I was watching them on.
Was it Rose?
They were talking about literally where they had like, they made like their Bibles were bigger than their actual novels. It was like literally, they wrote like every
oh, it was
chapter
Shammy.
was broken down.
It was Shammy Stoker.
Yeah, yes.
Dude, she lives in my city now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so nice.
Yeah, but I was laughing because she's like says she never writes from the hip. Everything is like detailed.
Yeah, well, it was my biggest mistake writing Somnia from the hip, because I got to book 6 and 7 and had to wrap up like 9 different plot threads. Oh my god, it was so. But apparently, I did really well because people loved the ending. So I was like, yes, I did it. I didn't leave anything dangling.
It worked. Yeah. They're like, what about the koala and the weed?
No, wrong books.
I know. I'm just fucking with you, man. So very, very, very cool, man. Well, I know you both have kids, and it's been we can keep
mine too.
Chatting very easily, I can tell. But I wanted to thank you guys so much for.
I better be asleep, actually.
Showing.
Yeah.
Hope you had a blast. I'm sure whether people are watching it now or they'll watch it in the future, you guys, if you have friends that want to watch it while you've been watching it, it'll be on by tomorrow. It'll be on YouTube permanently, the YouTube channel, and it'll be on the Facebook Showtime channel permanently, and you can download it, do whatever the hell you want with it. But thank you so much, you guys, for coming. We'll have to maybe have you back on in maybe like 6 months or something, and get a refresh on what you're doing.
We can do that, can we, Troy?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Next time, though, you guys, I'm sorry, we ran out of time. But next episode, we will do our best to make sure that we show the videos of Mark doing acrobatic wingtip feather tucks with his lightsaber. It's a sight to see. Ceiling fans get broken. It's amazing.
Actually did happen. Just so you know.
But anyway, thank you guys for being guests. Next month we have it'll be my first and all harem author episode. KT will be dropping in as Peter Piccadilly, her new name for her harem series. No, I'm kidding. Austin back, and then we'll have another one as well. So it should be interesting. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. You've been watching Stormcrow Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. Big love, big thanks for
yes, thank you.
Go. Hey, you guys want to throw out any promos?
Buy my books.
I mean, Mark will be putting your links.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Buy our books. They're great.
Yeah. No, any particular book that just came out? I know you both, I think, have one that just came out. So,
well, we're both on the Yonder app, so you should all get the Yonder app and read our books on Yonder.
Yeah, I got 2 series on the Yonder app. We took my Battlegrounds Online and took that out of Kindle Unlimited and put that on Yonder as well, along with Tales of the Far Rider. And you can get the.
I don't know, every time you guys say Yonder, I get like Star Wars vibes.
No, like,
it makes me feel like it's Star Wars. Very, very, very cool. Anyway, you guys, you've been watching Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. It's all about people putting the sweat and the time in, the work in, to see their dreams come to fruition. I couldn't do any of it without Mark Potter. And then thank you to our amazing guests, KT Hanna, Troy Osgood. Beautiful blessings. Love y'all.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Y'all have a wonderful day.